Right now at 10, unrest in Minnesota. Reaction tonight after a woman is shot and killed by ICE agents.
And an independent report is released. We'll hear from the father of a student who was suspended after accusations of sexual assault at Sun Prairie West.
Plus, victims gather at the state capitol while they're looking to amend a law focused on preventing drunk driving. And that's all coming up on News 3 Now at 10. Good evening. Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Sarah Carlson.
And I'm Eric Franke. In an incident that has captured the attention of a nation, today a woman was shot and killed in her vehicle by ICE agents in Minneapolis.
The Trump administration is defending the actions of the agents as residents continue to protest. Jennifer Merle has more.
Protesters took to the streets of Minneapolis Wednesday after an immigration and customs enforcement officer shot and killed a Minneapolis driver during a traffic stop.
But what we do know is that a 37-year-old woman is dead and that she was shot by ICE.
This eyewitness video appears to show the incident. A red SUV surrounded by ICE agents in South Minneapolis. They attempt to pull the driver from the car, but it appears the car starts to drive off. 3 shots are fired before the SUV slams into a nearby parked car. Authorities say Renee Nicole Good was shot in the head in front of a family member, that she was a U.S. citizen and not a target for an ICE-related arrest.
They are already trying to spin this as an action of self-defense. Having seen the video of myself, I want to tell everybody directly, that is bull. To ICE, get the Minneapolis.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem defended the actions of the ICE agents.
It was an act of domestic terrorism. An officer of ours acted quickly and defensively shot to protect himself and the people around him.
The Twin Cities have been on edge since more than 2,000 federal agents were deployed to the area to conduct immigration raids and to help with a widening fraud probe.
To Donald Trump and Kristi Noem, you've done enough.
The shooting is being investigated by the FBI and the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. Jennifer Merle, CBS News, Minneapolis.
Since President Trump returned to office, federal agents have been involved in at least 10 shootings. That includes the controversial incident late last year when a woman in Chicago was shot multiple times. The Department of Homeland Security accused her of ramming her vehicle into a border protection vehicle, but all charges were later dropped.
Turning now to weather, a nice day today, but we are counting down to some rain. Alex, how much can we expect?
We're expecting quite a bit of rain, 1 inch to 1.5 inches. Can you believe that? This isn't snow we're talking about. This is rain we're talking about as we go into Thursday night. Widespread from west to east. All of southern Wisconsin seeing that chance of having some heavy rainfall as well. And that heavy rain could come down at a fast enough rate, as it's called, that it could cause some ponding of water. Could be looking at some localized river ice jams if this does pan out. So certainly something to keep and bear in mind here on Thursday, that it's going to be an impactful day of weather with that heavy rain. And then we're also keeping an eye on accumulating snow chances for Saturday. But there's some changes with that weather system as we go Saturday into Saturday evening. When I come back in a couple minutes, we'll use Future Track to take you all the way through the start and the middle and the end of the heavy rain. And we'll talk more about some of the factors that may result in less snow on Saturday. That's coming up.
Alex, thank you. Now to a developing story. Tonight, News 3 Now spoke exclusively with a person listed in an independent report detailing how Sun Prairie West High School staff responded to accusations of sexual assault. The report says a student was suspended for spreading a rumor that former West Dean Robert Gilkey Meisegeier, Dean of Students, was inappropriately involved with other students. West's former principals decided they should suspend the student, who did not want to be named, for 2 days. The student's father told staff members in 2024 they were making a mistake.
That hurt as well, just because the adults in the school district are supposed to be there for our children and protect our kids, and it just seems like they failed to do that for her.
Now, after this incident, principals at West advised Gilkey Meisegeier to avoid interacting with the student he was rumored to have an inappropriate relationship with. He has since been charged with 15 child sex crimes.
Now to Monona, a woman was arrested after police say she led them on a high-speed chase. Officers say they tried to stop the car this morning at about 2 a.m. on the Beltline. This was after reports that it was driving without headlights, couldn't stay in its lane, and was going over 100 miles per hour. Police deployed spike strips, but it took 2 pit maneuvers to fully stop the vehicle. Police say a driver, a Mazomanie woman, refused to exit and smoked drugs from a drug pipe. Officers dragged her out of the vehicle without any injuries, and she now faces multiple felony charges.
Drunk driving remains a leading killer in Wisconsin, claiming hundreds of lives per year.
But families of victims are hoping the state can begin cracking down harder to avoid repeat offenses. Arman Rahman has more on the proposed bill.
Yes, Eric and Sarah, perhaps the biggest deal to advocates today, ignition interlock devices, getting them more often and quicker. They test the alcohol on your breath, and if any is detected, you're not able to start the car.
I want you to all get to know Caitlin.
Just coming off a festive season feels less so for the Thomas family.
My grandchildren talk about her and they didn't even get to meet her. It makes holidays, Christmases, birthdays, all celebrations are really hard without having her there.
Caitlin, their daughter, was taken from their lives in 2021 when she was hit by a drunk driver on I-39. In 2023 alone, 583 people in Wisconsin were killed in alcohol-related crashes.
AB 258 is a common-sense measure to make Wisconsin's roads safer.
Under that bill by Senator Van Wangard of Racine and Representative John Spiros of Marshfield, some people convicted of second or more reckless driving violations would be required to have speed limiters installed in their cars and installed faster.
And the penalties for tampering with an ignition interlock device are increased to fines of $350 to $1,100 and 5 days to 6 months in jail.
The CDC says IIDs reduce repeat drunk driving offenses by as much as 70%.
Together, these changes strengthen accountability, reduce recidivism, and save lives, without adding cost to bureaucracy.
Unfortunately for the Thomas family, it won't bring Caitlin back. But they say they're doing what they can to prevent another family from experiencing what they've had to.
It didn't have to happen, it's preventable, and anything you can do to help support.
And under the proposed bill, the cost of the speed limiter will be paid for by the offender, not with taxpayer dollars.
All right, thank you, Arman. The Madison Metro bus system is reducing services at some routes due to issues with its fleet. The affected routes are A1 and B. Metro says scheduled maintenance, mandatory inspections, along with unexpected fleet repairs have caused a temporary shortage of buses. For the routes impacted, service times will go from 15 minutes to 30 minutes due to the shortage.
I think it would be more so when it is colder. Like last week, it was pretty cold. And I was taking bus D to go take care of someone's cat, and missing the bus by 15 minutes could mean like another half an hour wait. And in the cold, that's not good.
And this is just the latest in the challenges Metro Transit has faced. A nearly $6 million budget shortfall forced the city to more than double its transit subsidy and implement emergency spending restrictions.
City of Stoughton's police chief is set to retire next month. Chief Daniel Jenks has served as chief there since 2022, bringing with him 34 years of law enforcement experience. His retirement set for February 6th. The city is seeking qualified candidates to replace him. Those interested in applying should visit the city's website for more information.
A new study finds potential health concerns with the tap water on airlines. According to the Center for Food as Medicine and Longevity, of the 10 major airlines tested, Delta scored best with a 5 out of 5. That's an A rating. The bottom two carriers, JetBlue and American, both earned less than 2 points, which is a D rating. This review focused on the water stored in onboard tanks and not the bottles of water.
The Department of Health and Human Services issued new federal dietary guidelines today. It emphasizes eating proteins, fresh vegetables, dairy products, and whole grains while cutting back on processed foods and added sugars. A new graphic design puts protein, dairy, healthy fats, and fruits and vegetables at the top and places whole grains at the bottom.
We are ending the war on saturated fats. Diets rich in vegetables and fruits reduce disease, risk more effectively than many drugs.
It's a terrific message, and I wish that it were accompanied by a very strong message to choose healthier proteins from plants.
The American Medical Association said the new guidelines spotlight the need to avoid the highly processed foods, sugar-sweetened beverages, and excess sodium that fuels heart disease, diabetes, obesity, and other chronic illnesses. Next at 10, the flu surging across the country.
And the U.S. seizes more oil tankers from Venezuela. This as millions of barrels are expected to be extracted from the country.
And Alex has the latest on heavy rain heading our way.
You're watching News 3 Now at 10.
Welcome back. The U.S. military seized 2 Venezuela-linked oil tankers in separate actions today.
Now, the Trump administration says those seizures give the U.S. leverage over the interim authorities in Venezuela. President Trump also announcing that the South American nation will be turning over between 30 and 50 million barrels of sanctioned oil to the U.S. to sell, with proceeds benefiting both countries.
They understand that the only way they can move oil and generate revenue and not have economic collapse is if they cooperate and work with the United States.
The administration also doubling down on its push to control Greenland and has not ruled out using military force, but says President Trump would prefer diplomacy.
Well, this year's flu outbreak is hitting new heights. The CDC says since October 1st, there have been at least 120,000 hospitalizations and at least 5,000 deaths, including at least 9 children. Doctors say parents should be monitoring their child's breathing when determining whether or not to take them to the emergency room.
You know, they're not as alert as usual. They might be a little bit dehydrated. They might be weaker, or they might have a hard time breathing. So lips could turn blue. They could be panting, heaving. You can look at the muscles in the neck or in between the ribs. Sometimes they'll tug in and out.
The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends all children 6 months and older get the flu vaccine.
Now to your forecast across southern Wisconsin. Heavy rain may be on its way to the region. Alex, when can we expect this weather to begin?
Yeah, right around noon, Eric Torres, when that heavy rain is going to advance from northern Illinois up into southern Wisconsin. Not heavy snow this go around, heavy rain and the possibility even of some thunderstorms. Let's take a peek here as Future Track shows a lot of yellow, a lot of orange across much of southern Wisconsin. And this will be some thunderstorms that will be mixed in with the heavy rainfall as well. So not expecting heavy snow out of this weather system. Rain and thunderstorms on the backside as we get into Friday, late Thursday evening, going into Friday morning. We'll be looking at some of that rain mixing with some wet snow before ending maybe a slushy ½ inch to 1 inch at most in southern Wisconsin as we get on the backside of that weather system. This is weather system number 1, but before we leave weather system number 1, upwards of 1 inch, maybe 1.5 inches of water, where that heaviest band sets up right now, likely from southwest Wisconsin up through the Dells, up towards Marquette and Green Lake counties, and then north and east up towards Green Bay. But it doesn't matter how you slice and dice the rain event from west to east, we are expecting heavy rain across all of southern Wisconsin. But here's a graphic that may surprise you. Even though we've had plenty of snow already this year compared to last year, we've had more than what we had all of last year. We have drought conditions across much of southern Wisconsin, at least abnormally dry conditions stretching from the Dells south to Lone Rock to Mineral Point to Platteville to Darlington over towards Monroe, just west of Madison. That's moderate to severe drought conditions across southern Wisconsin. Now, this rain will be helpful, and we have more precipitation in the forecast, too. But I want to emphasize some ponding of water, not out of the question tomorrow. Some river ice jams, we can't rule that out as well with the rate at which this rain is expected to fall during the afternoon and evening hours of Thursday. Then we have weather system number 2 that we've been mentioning since late last weekend, bringing accumulating snow and breezy conditions to southern Wisconsin. This would be Saturday going into Saturday night. But as I mentioned earlier in the newscast, there's some changes with this weather system. The track and where it gets together is setting up more towards the north and towards the east. Still have some snow showers breaking out late Saturday morning going into Saturday afternoon. But watch the weather system pivot here, stretching from Eau Claire to Wisconsin Rapids to Green Bay over towards Big Rapids in lower Michigan. That's where that band of moderate to more heavy snow may set up, leaving southern Wisconsin more on the south side of this band of snow, with some wraparound light snow showers and flurries as we go into Sunday. So this change with the track and where the focus of the moderate to more accumulating snow may set up more north and east of southern Wisconsin, and it's that track that's key to those totals. Better moisture north and east of Madison, with mounts potentially a little bit lower in southern Wisconsin. And if this does verify, we may drop our alert day heading for Saturday, but still impactful enough that we are still expecting some snow, some wind. So there will definitely be some slick spots, but maybe just not quite as heavy of snow as earlier thought that would warrant alert day conditions, which isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Right, and keeping an eye on it too. We
For sure.
appreciate it. Thank you, Alex.
Alex, thank you. The Packers defense has been experiencing some trouble lately, slowing down opposing offenses.
The real test comes this Saturday when the playoffs begin. News 3 Now's senior Packers writer Jason Wilde has more on how the team is defending against the rush.
The last time we saw the Packers' frontline defensive players in a game, it was right here at Lambeau Field on December 27th. That night they lost 41-24 to the Baltimore Ravens, and the Packers' defense allowed 307 rushing yards, including 218 to running back Derrick Henry. On Saturday night in their NFC wildcard playoff game against the Chicago Bears at Soldier Field in Chicago, they will face the NFL's third-best rushing attack. And defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley knows that his guys will have to play at a much higher level against the run. He believes that will happen, but he also knows that actions speak louder than words.
I think we played the run pretty well for a majority of the year. Obviously, we talked about the Baltimore game. It starts with lining up and doing our jobs consistently, which we failed to do that night. But I'm excited to get another shot at Chicago and do it. They have a very explosive run group with Monangai and Swift, and the quarterback obviously can run the ball. I think their O-line's really good, and they're one of the best run offenses in the NFL. So we're going to have to show it, but I don't want to talk about it. I want to go do it, and that's been our whole mentality for the week.
We'll have to see if the Packers' run defense, which will be one of the keys to winning this game, can come through on Saturday night. We'll have full coverage leading into the game on channel3000.com, and we will have full team coverage from Chicago at Soldier Field live on Saturday, both on channel3000.com and on News 3 Now. In Green Bay at Lambeau Field, I'm Jason Wilde.
All right, thank you, Jason. We'll have coverage leading up to that game live from Chicago with News 3 Now sports director Andrew Banstra and reporter Nash Dara previewing the showdown on Friday and at Soldier Field the next day.
And speaking of Andrew, he is here with a look at sports tonight.
I know, absolutely. And tonight we're talking about something interesting in sports. Kelly Sheffield's side of the story of the surprising departure from his program. We'll talk about that next on News 3 Now.
And now, News 3 Now Sports, brought to you by TDS Telecom.
Because I just could not understand. I couldn't get my head wrapped around what was happening here. I mean, we were clearly being sabotaged.
Una Vajagic's rise to stardom helped catapult Wisconsin volleyball to that Final Four run. And going forward, the path was cleared for her to take over the program. So when she entered the transfer portal, Kelly Sheffield was just as shocked as we were. The head coach claims that Una's agent told her that she was making less money than her teammates, something Sheffield adamantly denies, and says that the agent planted the idea in her head that her role wasn't big enough on the team, so she should leave Madison.
It was emotional because of somebody that seemed to be having such a perfect fit and having so much fun, and on her way, really on her way. She was thriving, she was having a blast, and then all of a sudden, within 48 hours, that it's become almost a totally different human. I had a really tough time getting my head wrapped around that.
Let's take a trip out west and bring your basketball. Bucks playing the Warriors, trailing by 8 late in the second, and Giannis picks up 3 the old-fashioned way. He had 18 in the first half, but at the break, the Deer are down 11. Well, you probably already know that no two teams have played more in NFL history than the Packers and the Bears. But did you know they've only met in the playoffs twice. And by the way, the winner of each of those playoff matches have gone on to win the NFL championship, we'll call it, because one of them was in 1941. So if you're anything like me, this game is absolutely exciting, and the whole week is a waiting game. I'll be in Chicago on Saturday night, which is where the Pack say is the only place they'd want to be.
I definitely wanted to play the Bears. If I had my pick, for any team, it would have definitely been the Bears. I want my get back for sure. We get a chance to put the Bears season to bed. That means a lot to us for sure.
A lot of the guys took that hit that he took a little personal, So I'm not saying we're gonna go out there and play dirty or nothing like that, but we definitely gonna defend our brothers.
Well, speaking of that injury, Love has not played since, but he said today that he doesn't think it'll impact his play on Saturday, a sentiment that his head coach Matt LaFleur echoed. Speaking of things I cannot wait for, Friday night right here on News 3 Now, Kirsten Sims joins me on the Wisconsin Huddle. The Olympian was a whole lot of fun. And speaking of even more things that I cannot wait for, Alex is back with a final check of the first warn forecast next on News 3 Now.
Tonight, presidents can't just steal and sell stuff that belongs to another country. That's what pirates do.
Plus, Chris Hayes and Natalie Portman, CBS Tonight.
Finally, tonight, you've heard of dogs finding their way back home after being lost, but how about one who somehow traveled more than 1,000 miles in 5 years? It was New Year's Eve 2020. Bella the Chihuahua went missing in the northern suburbs of Houston.
But 5 years later, the family was shocked to learn Bella was found in Rockford, Illinois.
That's where everyone wants to go.
Look, I know. Rockford's a fabulous place. With the power of community, the Winnebago County Animal Services and Care for Pets, they were able to raise enough funds to get Bella back in the arms of her owners. Congratulations. That makes my heart so happy. And they credit her microchip. It's a big one for pet owners.
It's a slow-moving microchip, though.
Yeah,
5 years. My goodness. Let's do better than that.
The person who finally got her and said, oh, maybe let's check that.
Bella was looking for Abe, our producer, who's also from Rockford.
Exactly.
Alex has a final check of the forecast.
And Rockford, Madison, doesn't matter. We're all getting heavy rain and maybe even some thunderstorms tomorrow, some ponding of water we can't rule out, and some river ice jams with the temperatures well into the 40s tomorrow and that amount of water coming down. And then we're keeping an eye on whether or not we keep alert day wording in the forecast for Saturday. Nonetheless, we are expecting some light snow and some wind on Saturday as well, even if we don't get heavy snow in southern Wisconsin on Saturday.
We hope we don't get heavy snow.
Take any moisture we can get, right?
That's true.
How about that?
Thanks for watching, everyone. Coming up next is The Late Show with Stephen Colbert.
Our next newscast starts tomorrow morning, 4:30. You can always find us streaming 24/7 on